June was visibly enraged and disappointed when Moira announced that she would like to do the dry run at Jezebel. She later told Moira to back out and send someone else to do the job. Moira was surprised by June's extreme reaction. June explained that she strongly believed Moira's plan would not be successful, and she was afraid of losing her best friend. But Moira refused to back down. Settling in Alaska was not Moira's dream, and she thought she would rather fight than do nothing about the situation. One by one, Moira received pictures of the girls currently living at Jezebel, and she and June were surprised when they saw Janine's picture. June thought it was her responsibility to save Janine at any cost, so she decided to speak to Ellen to convince her to let her go to Jezebel instead of Moira. June reasoned that even if she got into trouble, she knew a commander who would go above and beyond to help her. But Moira didn't have any useful contacts in Gilead, and if she got stuck, she would be forced to live in the labor camps or might even be killed. Ellen couldn't refute June's perspective. She was right, but at the same time, she knew it would hurt Moira. June promised to discuss the change of plan with Moira directly, but before she could explain herself, Moira had already found out. She refused to forgive June for going behind her back just because she wanted to prove a point. June stated that she wanted to protect them, and she knew the risks involved in the plan, which was why she believed it would be better for her to go than for Moira. Luke and Moira were surprised by June's sudden change of heart. All morning, she'd been requesting them to travel with her to Alaska, and out of nowhere she was planning to head back to Gilead. Luke thought it was ridiculous that she wanted them to move to Alaska while she volunteered for a Mayday mission. Luke and Moira could sense that June didn't think they had what it took to execute their plan, and it was humiliating for them. Moira refused to listen to June. She made it clear that she would go to Jezebel with or without June. Luke thought that June's sudden change of plan had more to do with what she wanted instead of how it would benefit Luke and Moira. It was obvious that June wanted to continue fighting, but Luke refused to let her do it at the cost of taking over the plan they'd been putting together for days. He was determined to head back to Gilead and deliver the bombs to the locations he'd picked. It was his way of trying to help Hannah, and he was not ready to back out at the very last minute. On the other hand, High Commander Wharton was in awe of Serena's conviction when it came to her plans pertaining to New Bethlehem. He was glad to see how dedicated she was towards building a slightly progressive space for Gilead refugees. She was determined to bring back those who were too afraid of the oppressive authorities, but at the same time, couldn't settle in another country because they had their family members in Gilead. New Bethlehem had become her passion project, and she sincerely wanted to implement the changes she had in mind. Even though Wharton was a traditional man, he appreciated Serena's dedication and believed that if her late husband, Commander Waterford, had been more receptive of her ideas, then they would have made more progress. He didn't miss the opportunity to spend time with her when she arrived at Rose and Nick's place. When she heard that Rose was craving some sweets, she brought her a pie, but since Rose was asleep, Wharton decided to keep her company. The High Commander had lost his wife to illness before Gilead was formed. He had focused most of his life on raising his daughter and dedicating himself to reconstructing the nation. There was something about Serena that made him feel romantically drawn towards her. Even when he'd seen her with her husband, he thought that Waterford didn't deserve her, and he secretly wished to be by her side. Serena too felt attracted towards him, and she felt deeply appreciated by him. Is Wharton the perfect balance of traditional with a hint of progressiveness that Serena was searching for? Perhaps they will complement one another and build a life together. But can she truly trust him? Because you never know the beast's men become behind closed doors. Towards the end of The Handmaid's Tale Season 6, Episode 4, when Commander Wharton and Serena were blissfully dancing in the streets of New Bethlehem, Aunt Lydia greeted them. Maybe Aunt Lydia will use this piece of information, their possible affair, to convince them to help her get Janine out of Jezebel. Stay in the loop with all the latest recaps, reviews, and behind-the-scenes insights. You're in the right place. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit the bell icon so you never miss an update.